What's your secret to stop yourself from overthinking? Recognize I am overthinking, remind myself it's normal but not helpful, gently refocus my attention to something else. Recognize, remind, refocus. I learned it in therapy and it has been really helpful for me personally. People can just choose not to do that. If I catch myself overthinking something, I just ask myself, will I remember this in a year? Will this be important to me in a year? If the answer is no, then there is no reason to waste another moment of my life thinking about it. I simply don't think, my goodness, what an idea, why did not I thought of that? I don't know, I am too lazy to help you think of an answer to that question. To stop overthinking, consider this: you cannot control everything. Stop worrying and stressing yourself about what you should have or could have done differently in the past, and find peace in the present. Do not think at all. Watch something so interesting that I cannot concentrate on something else. Have a mental breakdown every 3 months. If you are spiraling with your thoughts, actually finish it. Think through the whole situation that worries you. Quite often if we think about something uncomfortable, we do not finish the thought because we do not like it, but that just leaves us with an uneasy feeling. If you think it through, you will notice that it is likely not as catastrophic as you think it is. I have gotten pretty good at controlling my mind. I am prone to panic and anxiety, but I have taught myself to just shut it down. When I know I am doing it, I literally just shout at myself internally and say no, stop, as many times as it takes to get a grip, and then I give myself a pep talk. Eventually you learn to stop fairly quickly and just calm down. When the thoughts start to come back, I just block them. It works for me, unfortunately sometimes too well, because now I am known for being calm, so people come to me when they are in trouble because they know I would not freak out and will help them cope. Worrying and overthinking are part of the human experience, but when left unchecked, they can prevent you from living your life fully. Your thoughts generate feelings. These feelings, emotions, are what power your actions. Choose your thoughts wisely. Emotion will always overrule logic. So stop and think, is this logical, or am I letting my thoughts control my feelings, emotions? Keep track the situation, place, people that trigger your anxiety, your mood, and the what is your first thoughts that comes to you. Evaluate with logic why the situation is causing these negative thoughts. Work backwards. How do you want to feel? If you can identify that feeling, you can then ask yourself, what thoughts must you have to create that feeling, and the action, non-action will follow. Another trick that I use is to ask myself, who would I be right now without this thought, and really feel that out. It's easier once you do that to let it go, because there's really no thought that should be clouding your reality with anxiety in any moment. Sometimes I just tell my brain to shut the freak up, or I take a deep breath, in and out. Do it again, but hold it for 3 seconds, in and out. Stop thinking of things as good and bad. Simply think of results as results and shape your world accordingly without feeling the need to control it or impose your ambition or morality upon it. If I can, I will watch a video, listen to music, or read. If I cannot, I count down from 99 repeatedly. Try to just focus on counting to break up the train of thought. It helps me to start fast and then slow down to calm down. Take a deep breath. Tell myself that truth, and it made it easier to think about something else. Really help when you think of embarrassing things from your past. I would also like to know, because I can't stop myself from overthinking. I realize that I am overthinking, then start overthinking about overthinking, then think about how overthinking is leading to even more overthinking, then start thinking about how I am overthinking more than usual, which makes me overthink that I am overthinking about overthinking when overthink. Remind myself that I am a piece of poop, and no matter what scenario play out, I am not going to do anything about it, so why even bother thinking? True story. Meditation, as often as possible, whenever possible, so you can learn both extremes, silence and noisy clutter. This may be because I have had a pretty privileged or lucky life, but I often find the consequences for my actions are way less severe than I imagine or assume. Example, I have a deadline at work, but I have slacked off too much this week and I would not get it done. I start to overthink and stress out, but I just go to my boss and say, hey, I would not be able to finish this until next Wednesday, and almost always I get a sounds good with no follow-ups. For a long time I used to overthink a lot, but I always realized that it was overthinking, and only after recognizing, and will get over it maybe 2-5 hours later, it was never as big of a deal as you think. But before the realization, it had already caused a lot of damage, whether that be my brain juice, my attitude to my friends, whatever rude poop I said. Slowly I just recognized the overthinking instantly when it happened, so I sit it out, I walk, I talk myself through it, I distract myself, and eventually it will go away. I'd say the most effective way for me at first was taking walks and literally dissecting the problem. What's the problem? Why are you upset? Is that reasonable? Is this emotion justified? Are the reasons biased? etc. Your evaluation. I just have to try change the topic in my head. Most of my overthinking happens after my ADHD meds wear off, and when they do I question and regret every decision I made in the day, even good decisions. I give a time limit on how much time I will spend on a problem, then I will look at the problem after a few days. Remembering that I only have one brain cell and it can get damaged if I overload it with too much thinking. Personally, I haven't found anything, but if it's about a partner you need to tell them, and I find that if they write a paragraph or reassure me then I am fine. Dissolve it to the pure basics, and scale up from there. Okay, so what could happen if once you know the possible outcomes on a more basic level, you can scale up the possible outcomes from those things happening. Kinda hard to explain, and does not help every time, but that is what I do. Knowing I am overthinking, trying to refuse my own arguments, and literally waiting until I realize I was wrong. Socialize, meditate, take a break from social media, connect with family always, and focus on achieving your goals. One day, it will be over. It will all be for nothing, you will be dead. Once you understand that death is the ultimate downside, everything else is a bonus. I stopped drinking caffeine, and it has helped immensely. I still do it sometimes, but at a much slower pace. So, tools I use that I learned in therapy. First, I do a mundane attention exercise. Once a day, I choose a thing to do, and while I do it, I only pay attention to that thing. This gets me in the habit of focusing, in the moment. If I notice I am overthinking, I put it on a list in my phone called Worry Time. Twice a week, I work through those worries in a rational way. Knowing I will address the thoughts later allows me to usually set them aside in the moment and do something else instead. Can you do anything about it? Yes, no, then why worry about it? It is very easy to make a person not think. You just need to chop off your head. In all other cases, a person can and should think. The you may not succeed, but when you do not attitude. Checking out mentally, picture a loading screen. None. I keep overthinking, mostly while trying to sleep, though doing stuff you love to do will help. Try audio-video recording of your thoughts. They stop immediately or become meaningless. In a year from now, am I going to remember this thing that I am freaking out about? In 5 years, am I going to remember this? If you are having a particular bout of concentrated overthinking, try and put something on like a movie or music that is a happy memory for you. If it's like a movie or a book, I tell myself it's just fiction, and if it's a real life thing, I tell myself don't overthink it, dude. Listen to something. It will take the demons away and you will find yourself just sinking in the music. Overthink about overthinking. Boom. Now I am too scared to overthink. Use Mary Jane. This can work the absolute opposite for some people though. Sometimes I can relax and stop overthinking or obsessing over things when I take an edible or vip some concentrate, but other times it just makes me think about SHT more, and I never know which will be which. Agreed. It is not for everyone. Maybe a nice meditation. LOL. Honestly, pharmaceutical medication has been 100 facts the only thing that has ever worked for me. Other things are either temporary, require too much work without medication alongside it, or they even exacerbate the issues, be it escapism, drugs, alcohol, or attempting to meditate. I play LS theme from Death Note, and then feel smart about overthinking. and then imagine myself in situation in Death Note and other anime, and forget something that I was doing 15 minutes ago that was overthinking. Ever play timed chess? Make the best move you can with an appropriate amount of time for a given position. Get a good sense of passing time. If your move was a mistake, then so what? Everyone else makes mistakes. There is always going to be more moves to make, more games to play. I just remember some wise words someone once told me. Overthinking, overanalyzing, separates the body from the mind. Then I hit the bong and play some Call of Duty. Will anyone die if I get it wrong? FCK it, what happens happens, nobody's gonna care anyways, and in a month I will have forgotten it too. It is what it is, the phrase I live my life by. Have not figured that out yet, but I think relaxing your whole body and breathing in and out can help temporarily. Go hard at the gym. I find that I tend to have anxious thoughts the longer I go without a nice workout. Full body intensive workouts are great, especially if your anxiety morphs into aggression. One of the following: sleep, being asleep, saying FCK it, lifting weights. Put on a random playlist, then try to play along on bass guitar, or get up and dance like a fool. Either one works to switch off the thinky parts and activate the funky circuits. Distract myself by doing like 10 different things at once. I usually try to practice crocheting while watching a movie and listening to music at the same time. Focus your thoughts on something productive. Distraction with something that forces me to use my brain. Solitaire usually works to take my mind off of whatever it is. I deal with a very similar issue. The one thing that seems to help me is to write it down. At the end of the day, before going to bed, I write in my diary all the things that have been on my mind and have been bothering me. I think there is plenty of evidence for the therapeutic effects of writing, even when it is just for yourself, and even if you are not going to read it again after writing it. When you write something down, your mind is tricked to some degree. I think so. It is on paper now. It has been documented. It is written down. I no longer need to think about this issue. If I need to think more, I can write more down. This has been my experience, and I hope it helps you as well. Whenever I write something down, I am able to work through the issue and no longer think about it as often or at all. Whenever your mind is fixated on something, it wants you to slow down and analyze it and work through it. One reliable way of doing that is to write it out. Another route, if it is available, is to talk to a friend or therapist about it. That can help a lot as well.